Det vi hørte nå, det var låta Angel Eyes fra den nye skiva til amerikanske Riot, og skiva bærer titlen Inishmore. Og dette innebærer at et av de store bandene er tilbake med ny skive. Og med oss på telefonen fra Tyskland så har vi gitaristen Mark Reale. Hello, Mark. How are you? How are you?
Pretty good.
Fine. To begin with, could you present the lineup for us?
The new lineup, well, the current lineup.
Yeah.
Basically, Bobby Jazanbeck on drums, Pete Perez on bass, Mike Flint's on guitar, myself, Mark, on guitar, and Mike DeMeo on vocals.
Riot started up back in '76, and Inishmore, your new album, is your 9th studio album, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And how is it after 20 years? Is it difficult to maintain the momentum of the band in 1998?
Well, basically, we've had so many problems in terms of our business. Just to give you an example, the last 2 years, we were in the really bad legal battle with our old production company. And it's been rough for many years because, you know, we never had anybody that was really qualified to handle Riot's career. I mean, that's why the band suffered so many years of all kind of personnel changes, people becoming unhappy with the situation, always plagued by bad business. Well, we finally changed that, and we made a settlement this past spring with our old production company, and we're free of the contract. And this is the first record I've done that I've had full control over. So it's been difficult, but the thing that's kept me going is the support of the fans. I've always been the reason why it's hard for me to walk away from Riot. And now I'm very excited because we have very good people working with us, and I think we'll have a very good chance now to reach a lot of those fans.
So Riot of '98 is a fresh band ready to roll.
Oh, yes.
You've been through some label changes through the years, and now you're signed to Metal Blade Records. Are you comfortable with the situation today?
Well, actually, I'm very comfortable because it's nice to be on a record company that knows how to market this kind of music. We've been on major labels, and it's always very difficult because they don't really know how to market this kind of a band. So it's great to be on a label that even in Japan, I mean, you know, we left Sony because of that reason. Big label, but they're more interested in Mariah Carey, not in Riot. So it's hard to function that way. So we feel real happy about it.
How did you get this deal?
Well, basically, we after we made this settlement and got out of the contracts legally, we made recorded a couple of tracks. Actually, the 3 tracks that we recorded were Angel Eyes, Liberty, and Watching the Signs. And our new manager, Jeff Allen, went to Midem in France, the convention, and presented it to many different companies. And we got to my surprise, actually, because I figured after all these years, maybe somebody might lose interest, but they got very positive response. And we got a lot of offers, and all over, you know, in here in Europe and also in Japan. And we made the best deals we felt for Riot. We accepted the best ones.
Having been around as long as Riot has been, do you think you will gain fans from the kids of your old fans from back in the late 70s, early 80s?
You mean will we maintain our old fans?
Yeah, and gain new fans from the kids of your old fans.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, you know, that's the big trick. I think that, you know, this kind of music we do and bands like us do is not really a trend or a fad. I think that if you were into it, you were 17, you're still into it. The big trick is getting new kids into it. And I think a lot of that is going to rely on, you know, good bands doing this kind of music, and it's going to rely on places like, you know, here in Europe and Asia, where the press still has a very big role to play in making this music, visible for young people. Because in the States, it's very difficult because it's all run by the television media and radio. And, even though there's many hard rock fans in America, older people, young kids don't get a chance to be exposed, really, because they don't see it. And that's a problem there. But I think if this music can become popular again amongst younger people here in Europe and Asia, I think that maybe it will filter back to the United States.
Yeah.
So hopefully that can happen, but we'll have to see.
Your new album is titled Inishmore, and is there a concept involved in the album?
Well, it's kind of a partial concept. The concept really is based on that particular track, whereas like our last record was a total concept. This basically is a loose concept. The Inishmore track was, I had been listening to a lot of Celtic music, a lot of, like Irish folk music. I saw a stage show on television back in New York. It's an Irish dance troupe, and the show is called River Dance. It's an Irish dance troupe from Dublin, and the music was just wonderful. It was very majestic. And I've always been into bands like Thin Lizzy and artists like Gary Moore and stuff, Irish musicians who use that influence in their music. And I just decided I wanted to do something based on that kind of sound. So when I wrote the music, I then listened to it and felt that it needed to have, there needed to be a concept around it. So I did a lot of reading on Ireland and the period during the 1800s when they had the famine and the starvation, and many people left Ireland in panic. I decided to create a story based around that time, and that's pretty much what the title is, and based around that whole situation.
So there's no Irish family background in the band, or is it?
Well, I'm Italian myself, but I have a cousin who is half Irish. She's actually married to an Irish man, and she lives in Ireland. She's been there for the last couple of years. Yeah, I called her up when I was writing the lyrics to the song Inishmore. I called her up to make sure I was pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah. Having released a number of albums through the years, do you feel that Inishmore picks up from your last studio album, or is this a new start for the band?
Well, I think, artistically it kind of continues with the same kind of spirit. We always change a little bit, but I think we're consistent as far as the energy and the spirit of the music goes. But it's surely a new beginning in terms of us for our business affairs. I have pretty much control over everything now, finally. And I feel we're working with some really good people, and I feel real confident that we're going to at least get a very, very good shot. If we can continue to make good records, I think we'll have a really good shot at doing really well.
There are quite a number of bands out there who's been inspired by Riot through the years. And how about yourself? Do you get any inspiration from the metal scene?
Well, yeah, I mean, mostly from classic stuff like Judas Priest and, Rainbow has always been a big, early Rainbow especially, and Deep Purple have been big influences on me. Newer stuff, it's hard to say because, it's so underground, a lot of it now, in America especially. I'm pretty much into the classic stuff, though, myself, just because of the way it was produced, the playing, and the way the songs were written. Really, the songwriting, I think, was very good. That's pretty much my influence in terms of bands and songs, stuff like that. Even I thought one of the classic American rock albums was the first Montrose album by Ronnie Montrose. But very much influenced by the European sound of hard rock, like Shanker and Rainbow and that kind of sound.
I noticed a couple of the members are also playing in a band called Spastic Inc., who play a very technical, complex and instrumental kind of metal. How is it possible to combine such different styles and yet maintaining this unique Riot sound?
Well, Bobby and Pete basically are really great players. They're really into a lot of progressive music, and that's just like a side project they did with Bobby's brother.
Mm-hmm.
When they come to Riot, I pretty much write. Me and Mike write most of the music. Write most of the songs. So they just pretty much follow us in terms of that. And what they do is they apply their great musicianship to the songs we write.
Mm.
It's kind of like me and Mike come up with the song, the melody, the song itself. Then when we put Pete and Bobby onto it, they create the drive behind it and the energy.
Mm.
Because of their playing, their playing style is very technical and very, very aggressive.
Mm.
So we influence them and they influence us. And I think that's how we all influence each other, and that creates the Riot. Of the very intense kind of playing, the very intense energy, and yet you could still play these songs on an acoustic guitar because they're very melodic.
Yeah. I realized that the album hasn't been released yet because this interview is being made there's over a month
Yes.
left before the album being released. But have you had any reactions from the press? I gather that the promo has been sent out.
Well, actually, in all honesty, the initial response has been extremely well. It's been surprisingly well, actually, here in Europe. And even more to my surprise, in the States, the Metal Blade serviced all the A-list radio stations. And I didn't even know there were still rock radio stations in America. But they serviced all the radio stations and got very, very... they said that they were getting much better response than they expected. So that's very nice to know.
Yeah. What are your plans after the release of the album?
We're going to Japan around late January. We will be recording the live shows there. We come back February 6th and mix the record. Then we are planning to come to Europe. Maybe springtime.
Would be nice to see you here in Norway.
Definitely.
Yeah. Has there been any videos made from the album?
We did shoot one video about 2 months ago, which I think Metal Blade has. They should have by now. It's Evangelize, and basically I would like to record some of the shows, do some video of some of the shows in Japan, because being that we're recording live, multi-track, we possibly can do some live video off of that. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll be able to do that.
Yeah. We'd like to play one more track from the album when we end this interview, and we have been talking about Kings Are Falling. Is there anything special you can tell us about that track?
Well, the thing about it is, that's one of my favorite tracks because I really think we really kind of hit on what I would consider real power rock. If you wanted, a definition of what power rock is, I think it really captures, just the tempo of the song, the groove of the song, and I think Mike does great vocals on it, and it's something I would use as a definition for power rock. So that's pretty much what I could say about that.
Yeah. Okay, Mark, thanks for joining us here in High Voltage, and we wish both the band and we wish the band all luck with the album and with your touring. And let's listen to the track Kings Are Falling.